Hi, sweet friends. Welcome back to Positive Talks with Mary. I'm Mary McKay, and I am so glad to have you here today. We have a great topic, and I think it's something that we have all dealt with, like sometime or another in our life, and that's being able to forgive someone who hurt you. And I just have some simple steps on that'll help you be able to find forgiveness, how to find healing in your heart, and also why God says that you should forgive. So let's just dive right in and let's get to it. So first, let me ask, have you ever been in a difficult situation where someone's actions have impacted you in a negative way? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have too, and it's never a good position to be put in whatsoever. And this could be a partner who was not faithful to you, a friend who betrayed you, a colleague, a co-worker who threw you under the bus, a family member who wants to tear you down. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Whatever the situation it is, learning to find forgiveness can be a really hard thing to do when someone has hurt you. And sometimes it seems like you have to forgive someone's actions over and over because they continuously continue to hurt you and those around you, and that's never a good situation to be in. But learning to forgive someone who hurts you, it's really difficult, but it's essential for our growth and for our overall well-being to be able to forgive someone. And, I do want to note right now, I think it's really important to say that forgiveness does not mean that you are excusing their harmful actions or their behavior whatsoever. It is not about that. It's more about releasing this emotional bond that this person's hurtful action has had on you, and it's just choosing to move on in a more healthier and a more godly way. So again, forgiveness does not mean that you are condoning or excusing this person's actions or behavior whatsoever. Just wanted to clarify that. Now we can move on. So you might be asking, why should I forgive? Why should I forgive when they were the ones who did wrong? When they were the ones who hurt me? That's a question that I'm sure we have all caught ourselves saying a couple of times before. And I get you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, they should totally ask for your forgiveness too, because it's just as important. But why should you find it in your heart to forgive that person for the harm, for the hurt, for the damage that they caused you? Because forgiveness is required by God. God says to forgive those who have hurt you, and having an unforgiving heart is a sin, plain and simple. And the Bible, it actually says in Colossians 3:13, make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Let's go back to that last sentence. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. See, God continues to forgive us over and over and over again. So that means that you have to forgive the person who hurt you, just like the Lord forgives us for our sins every single day. I mean, I'm a human, and I do sin and I do wrong, and God sees that and He knows that, but He continues to forgive me and He continues to love me despite my flaws and despite my wrongdoings. He continues to love me, and that's exactly how we're supposed to look at the person who hurt us. I know that it's hard, and I know that they might have betrayed you and they have hurt you and they've left you in pain, and they haven't even seen that the restless nights where you cry yourself to sleep, or the restless thoughts that you have constantly thinking about this and why did it happen. And maybe they don't even necessarily know the damage and the hurt that they have caused you. And I mean, I get it. Forgiving someone is hard, plain and simple. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's easy. I wish it was, but it's not. It's a difficult thing to do. But when you go to God, you can find it in your heart to be able to forgive the person who has wronged you or who has continuously wronged you. With God, you can find forgiveness. So how do you do it? How do you learn to find forgiveness. So let's keep this pretty plain, pretty simple, but you gotta pray, and you gotta pray a lot. And then when you get done praying, you gotta continue to pray. But first though, you got to confess in prayer, that you're having a hard time with forgiving this person. You're having a hard time moving on from the damage and the hurt that was done to you. And tell God that that you have some anger, you have some bitterness, you have some rage built up inside you from the hurt that was done to you, and you just don't know how you're going to be able to forgive this person. And it's sort of like almost the thought of that person sometimes can like make you angry, or it can just like change your whole entire mood in general. And I know that that sounds sort of harsh, but it's true. And that's why we need God's help, because we need his help to forgive, because that is just our human nature to always see the bad and want to have like revenge or resentment on that person who has done you wrong. So that's why you got to go to God in prayer, and you got to ask him for help, and pray for strength, pray for guidance, because you need help to forgive them, because how we've been handling this hasn't been working at all. And that's why you need the Lord's help. And if you have a hard time praying for someone who hurt you, ask God to give you the desire to put it on your heart to pray for that person. Ask God to help you love this person even though they seem unlovable. Ask God to help you see them the way that he sees them, through the eyes of God, and ask him to heal and to mend this situation, and to choose every single day that you are choosing forgiveness. You got to tell God that, hey God, today I am choosing forgiveness, even though you might not necessarily like feel it in your heart yet. Your faith will eventually catch up with continual prayer. And then you have to choose to let go. You have to let go of the resentment, and you got to release your feelings and your anger and this bitterness to God. You have to choose to lay it all at God's feet and trust that he will be able to heal and to restore your broken heart and the damage that was done to you. See, when you go to God in prayer and you lay these problems at his feet, and you believe and trust that he is the healer, and you trust that he is the restorer that he says he is, then the healing will start to happen. And when that healing happens is when the forgiveness begins to come in. Just to clarify, forgiveness is not necessarily like a one-time thing, or it just happens overnight. No. Sometimes you just gotta keep at it, and you gotta keep continuing to pray, because healing from the heart for someone who hurts you, it takes time. It really, really does. But forgiveness does happen through God in prayer. I just want to remind you that forgiveness does happen through God and prayer. So pray, and pray often. But what else can you do other than pray? Yeah, you got to stop thinking about it, and you got to stop talking about what was done or what happened. And when I say talking, I mean like talking with your friend or a partner, whoever, more like agging the situation on, or like you're getting yourself more riled up and angry than you already were just talking about it. You know what I mean? Like that kind of talking more gossiping than getting help kind of talking. Look, you cannot forgive someone if you are constantly talking and wallowing in what happened, because what happened. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about it. Like, we can't go back and change what was done. It is done. So you got to get it out of your head and out of your mouth. It's like the saying, if you don't have anything good to say, then don't say anything at all. I don't know how many times my mom has said that to me, and I sometimes even have to think that to myself in a situation where I could be, getting riled up or making myself angry due to a certain person and the actions that they cause. And, sometimes it really is hard to even just stop thinking about what was done, and to even like not talk about it because it was awful, and you're hurting once again. So it's sometimes hard to stop thinking about that. But I always like to put on like some good godly music. It just helps soothe the soul, get my mind off it, and just remember like hearing those words of the songs, just to know like God is in control and he does have this situation under control, even if it doesn't seem like it. But it is okay for you to talk to a pastor, a godly friend, a family member, a counselor, if you just need help processing some of the damage and the bitterness that you have. Also, on guidance on how to move on and find forgiveness from the person who hurt you. So here's the real gem in forgiving. It's a chance for you to grow as a person individually, but more importantly, it's a chance for you to grow your relationship with the Lord. Because when you call out for help from the Lord and you let go of all that heavy baggage that you have been carrying around for way too long, those resentment, the grudges, the bitterness, life suddenly feels lighter when you let go of it and you give it to God. Because, we as humans, we can't fix it all. We don't have all the answers, and it's sometimes just too much for us to even handle. But you know who it's not too much for? You know who has all the answers? God. And he can handle it all. And he can change that unforgiving heart into a heart that seeks out forgiveness instead of revenge. So yeah, I do think that's it for today. And I really do hope that this has inspired you to let go of the pain and the hurt that you have been carrying. And I hope that this has encouraged you to really pray about finding forgiveness in your heart and healing for the person who hurt you. And I hope that with continual prayer that you will be able to find forgiveness, and maybe with continual prayer, when you pray for that person too, maybe that relationship will be able to mend and to come back together. But yeah, I hope that's it for today, and I hope this situation for you and you find some healing and restoration in your heart and just some peace in your life. So thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already done it, like this video, subscribe below, comment your thoughts on this video, or some ways that you deal with finding forgiveness and how you heal your heart in situations like this. So yeah, comment below. I'm so happy to have you here, and yeah, I'll see you back here soon with another video.